listening to Cain and Randy on Scratch the Vinyl.
Scratch the Vinyl.
Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. You guys made it back, and we're so glad that you did. We're glad you guys keep chugging along with us every week, and we just keep on popping out the great guests. And this week's going to be no different. But before we get into all that, I'm not even going to mess around. I'm just going to bring him on right now. My brother from another mother. He is the chill man himself, Mr. Chill, Randy Wilson. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Always look forward to seeing you, Cain. Back for another week of Scratch the Vinyl.
Did you notice the hat that I'm wearing? If you're a Stranger Things fan, this is the hat that Dustin was wearing in the latest season. When I saw it, I had to have it. Being a Hawkeye fan, you know, earmuffs, Husker fans. It was yellow and black, and it goes with all of my stuff. And I won't get beat up at the store if I wear it because I'm wearing my Hawkeye gear. So I love the hat. Is giving me superpowers today, Randy.
Well, that's awesome. I'm a big Stranger Things fan, so I didn't notice that you had that was a specific hat. They're always backwards, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm a dork, Randy. I watch this stuff and I get immersed in what they're wearing, the music, and all of that stuff. I would definitely love to do a side episode. I mean, it's been a while since it's been out now, so I'd love to do a side episode on our reactions to Stranger Things and everything. But I want to get a reaction from you right now on something huge coming up, which is the Super Bowl is coming up here. Those of you guys that listen, you know that we usually record this a little bit before. And so when this comes out, the Super Bowl will have already gone on, or I should say Super Game, so that the NFL doesn't come with their team of lawyers and beat the crap out of us and all of that. But Randy, are you excited about the game and all the things going on?
I'm not excited at all about it. Patriots, Seahawks, neither are two teams that I like to follow at all. I feel like this is just a return back to the old hat. It's probably the least excited I am about the football game. However, I will look forward to the halftime show. And I do like Bad Bunny. So
isn't Green Day also performing or something? I'm so confused by all the ridiculousness of alternate things, but isn't Green Day performing as well?
Green Day as well. I love Green Day. I'm an old Green Day fan, so I look forward to seeing the hands full of songs that they've picked out. We know there's going to be controversy, but it'll be awesome as it always is. I'll look forward to it. And of course, I'll watch just for the commercials and all that hoopla that goes along with it. And eventually there'll be a football game, and I won't have anybody to root for because I won't care how it finishes out, but it'll definitely be something for us to talk about.
Well, me being a 49ers fan, I couldn't be more disgusted by by the people to be honest with you. My Niners petered out, man. They got too injured and they couldn't get it done. And I hate the Seahawks with the passion, and I don't want to root for either of them. So I'm going to be watching the ads. I'm going to be enjoying the music, and I'm going to be probably having a fat, full belly of sodium-filled joy that day. So that's really all I have to look forward to.
Well, I had some resurgence. I had some resurgence from friends that were big Broncos fans that finally felt like maybe they were making a return, and obviously it didn't work out. But I want to bring up one thing with you before we bring on our awesome guest for today. Is you've been doing all this great Scratch the Vinyl artwork for us. And I'm the guy that grew up in the 80s. But all these clips you do make you look super cool in the 80s stuff. And I look like the dork.
Let's be honest, Randy. If it was the 80s, I would have been a cool guy back then too. It's just the chat GPTs and all that, they're just recognizing game for what it is, my friend.
You didn't know you were behind the times. You just didn't know.
That's right. No, I was honestly, I would say I was on the fringe of maybe being cool in school, but I always felt like an outcast. So I felt like the nerd, I don't know, the nerdy guy in Pretty in Pink or whatever. But really, I wasn't. I was the guy doing keg stands and doing all that stuff. So I was just on the fringe of almost being cool.
Listen, you would have fit right in with my group. We would have got you some Iron Maiden concert shirts, and you would have fit right in. It's the problem is when you do those art clips, and I had a mullet or the spiked hair when I was that age. I'm glad it's I'm glad it's gone, by the way.
Well, does stand to be said before we bring our guests on, though. We did have a massive loss in the rock world, everybody. Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night died at 83. He was the lead vocalist for Three Dog Night. He was the guy singing all those massive hits and their massive run that they had of 21 consecutive top 40 hits.
Yep.
It's a pretty big loss, man. We're losing them, aren't we, Randy?
Yep. I grew up on Three Dog Night. It was one of my mom's favorite bands. Joy to the World, huge song. It's old fashioned love song. They had some great hits, and I'm at that point. We're starting to see all of our older rock legends pass away, and just big shout out to Chuck.
Yep.
Thanks for the great music.
Thanks for the great music and the great times. I suggest all of you guys, like I'm going to do, I'm going to pop out the Three Dog Night albums, and I'm just going to kind of sit back, listen to some cover to cover, and just enjoy and really revel in what that guy did. And I mean, that's what we should do with all of these people who are passing away. Get out there, buy that vinyl, buy those cassettes, whatever you got to do. But just sit down and listen to an album with intent, right, Randy?
Absolutely. I'll bring up one last thing is I did watch a little of the Grammys this weekend, and probably one of my best takeaways from that was a little return of rock back to the Grammy stage and the tribute they did to Ozzy again, and Youngblood getting the Best Performance of the Year award, doing Changes by Ozzy, and just the love and affection that he's gotten from the Osbourne family and his just how he connected with Ozzy before he died, and just having that mentor like pass the torch, I think is so cool. And it just has brought some rock back into the mainstream again. And I love that.
That's right. Rock is back, and it's making a huge tumble back to us in different forms too. Apparently Sharon is going to be bringing back Ozfest, which us Ozfest kids are salivating as we speak. I can actually feel the drool coming off my mouth right now. So I can't wait, but I'm also feeling the drool, which is a strange segue, but I'm going to do it anyway. To the guys that we have on today. And why am I drooling and why am I so excited? Because we have two awesome guests, everybody. Lincolnites. We have Lincoln Exposed coming up here, and we're gonna do it big. And so we're gonna start out right now by bringing on a couple guys who've been in the business for a long time. They've been in the scene forever, and they're in Lonely Winners right now. So let's bring them on. Let's bring on Tim Woosley and Case Maranville. How are you guys doing?
What's up? Thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, guys. So, I mean, you guys got to be pumped. I mean, this is big times for the Lincoln music scene. And I think both of you guys have been in multiple bands and been in a lot of things over the years. So, I mean, this is kind of old hat to you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, we've each of us have been in bands for a long time and grew up on Lincoln bands, going to shows, all ages shows when I was a kid, early stuff at Duffy's when I was 16, and but yeah, playing in bands. But we're stoked to be invited. It's gonna be good.
Absolutely. So I mean, of all the years that you guys have been into it, what is are there any memorable moments that you can remember going and seeing somebody? I mean, I'm talking anything from a national act to whatever. I'd love to hear from both of you guys. What is something that really stands out to you, be it local or whatever, that you saw that when you think about it, it still blows your mind?
Oh, wow. Locally, I mean, I've got to see a handful of artists that are no longer here today, like their bands are broken up. And so to be a part of that little scene for just a moment, that's always really special when you can, catch lightning in a bottle like that and just enjoy it for that moment before it goes away. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Case? I mean, is there anything that you've seen here in Lincoln that really blew your mind?
Dude, actually, last Saturday night was amazing at the Bourbon. It was Daniel Donato and Cosmic Cowboy. It was last minute. I got a ticket. It was insane. It was, I mean, that was Saturday, but yeah, like I would say when I was the first band that I saw that would just completely wrecked me was Mercy Rule, old school Lincoln band, Domestica now, but they're, who knows if they, that if they understand how powerful that was for a young kid to see. But yeah, that kind of era was when I started going to shows. Saw Fugazi a couple times. Seaweed was great. Saw that band. They were like a Seattle band early in the 90s. That was at the Union. King's X, I saw Fishbone on a Monday night at Knickerbockers. It was insane. King's X was,
They mop the floor up every time they play.
yeah. Saw a band called Blindside in the early 2000s, and you probably know, but yeah. There's just so many. Like Lincoln has such a rich tradition of local music, but like it's the middle ground, so you're not always catching the big shows. You are now a little bit with the arena and stuff, but back then there were, you never know what acts you might see at the Zoo Bar or Knickerbockers back in the day, or Duffy's, tons of famous bands that were popping in, or just like they hadn't surfaced yet, maybe, they're just playing a Wednesday night. So
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. I think it's fortunate that kind of being where we're located, Lincoln, kind of like right in the middle of the country, that they don't realize that we've always had that opportunity of picking up these bands that are kind of traveling from coast to coast,
Yeah.
and we get them on the off nights, and
Yeah.
so we always had opportunities in those times to see some amazing bands if you were willing to go out and see live music on a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday night.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, I'm glad that there's still venues, that are operating. Like I get scared about that, especially in the pandemic, 2020. It was like, are we losing live music? Who's gonna continue this? The zoo's always been there. But there's a lot of great clubs. So I think Lincoln Exposed promotes that. It's not just the artists, but it's also like the places that the artists play. And it's a chance to feature the music coming out of Lincoln, but also like just a great scene, the clubs and venues that are hosting.
Yeah, for those of you just, following along, Lincoln Exposed is going to be here in Lincoln from February 11th to the 14th. Opportunity to go out and see multiple bands across those few days at different locations. And you can still go to their website and get a pass for $35 and go see as many of those acts as you can. So we encourage everybody to go to do that.
It looks like you guys have that Thursday slot with Lonely Winters, right? It looks like you guys play February 12th around 6:40 to 7:20 range. So tell us about that. Tell us a little bit more about the show and what we're looking forward to here.
Yeah, so that's our spot. And I haven't played Duffy's for quite a while. So like I remember the old setup when it was Against the Glass, when bands would play there. So I'm trying to think if I played a show in the corner, and that's been a lot of years. So I'm excited to play the room. It's a rock and roll room. It's live. We're a rock and roll band. We're a 4-piece guitar band. So yeah, it's Thursday the 12th, 6:40 to 7:20. So it'll be fast and loose, and try not to hurt people.
I used to spend almost every Thursday night down at Duffy's for many years during that time.
Definitely.
I love that old room. At
Yeah.
the curtain, you sneak in there and it's just packed, and the vibe in the room was so cool.
Yeah.
And always great. And now they've really kind of turned it around, and it definitely is an upgrade to the sound. But yeah, love going to those shows at Duffy's.
Yeah, I remember like walking. Everybody's chain smoking back in the day, before the ban, and
Punch bowls.
yeah, and punch bowls. Like, so it's a perfect rock and roll venue. It's just soaked into the walls, which is great for us. I think we'll fit right in.
With such a memorable place. It's like I hate seeing that we don't have Knickerbockers anymore, right? Like every time I go by that, it just kind of socks me in the gut and all these great places, but we still have a few, right? I mean, we've got the Bourbon, we got Zoo Bar, we got all these bars still holding it down, Duffy's, and that it feels fantastic. I think I was just in at KZUM. I wasn't on the show, but I was hanging out with David Raby and the Morning Slacker, and I think they play the same night that you guys do at Duffy's that night. I think maybe he's playing with Dean the
Cool.
Bible or something. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I'm excited just to see a handful of bands, but then also just like to run into bands that I've never, there's always something new happening. Like there's a bunch of bands that are established, have been doing it for a while, but to see like the fresh stuff, the young stuff,
Do you guys wander back and forth? Like, are you guys gonna go check out a lot of the other acts and even in some of the other areas?
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. Yeah, we'll be out all night listening and perusing.
Well, let's roll it back here a little bit. That this is an exciting time for Lincoln, but I want people to get to know you guys so that when they come to the show, they get to know who they're seeing and something about them. So I'll try to maybe just one at a time. I would love to dive into both of you guys as musicians. So I'll just start with, because he's on my left, I'll start with Tim. Tim, tell the audience out there a little bit more about yourself, how and why you got into music and kind of what you've done over the years to get yourself to this point.
Sure, yeah. Well, I got into music when I was probably 13. My dad and my uncle, they had a band. My grandfather bought all of his sons guitars, drums, and bass because he wanted to have his own little country band to play for him whenever he wanted to. Well, these guys, instead of the country, they grabbed the guitars and played, Creedence and all the old things that you did back in the 70s. And so I distinctly remember being a kid and staying at my uncle's house in Des Moines over the weekend. And it was one of those things where my dad and my uncle would play guitars and stand in the room and play guitars until 1, 2, 3 in the morning. And as a young kid, being able to stay up late and see your uncle and your dad having the time of your life and just absorbing that was really impactful for me. And so my dad eventually taught me a few chords. I learned some guitar. Moved into Lincoln in the 90s, and then I joined a band, the World Record Players. Jeff Iwanski's he's a staple here in town here, and so we played for a long time. We released a record, and then just kind of floated around here and there. I opened up my own guitar lesson studio called Lincoln School of Music, and did that for about 17 years, teaching hundreds of kids and adults how to play guitar and just rock out for fun. And then met up with Case, and that's why I jumped on with Case and what he was doing with Lonely Winters, and just hung on and enjoying the ride.
Right on, man. And how about you? Case? I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you? Kind of in the same way. I got to be honest with you. I dig this stuff. I just love hearing everybody's background story. So we want to hear yours.
Yeah, I'm from Lincoln. I went to Lincoln Northeast High School, and I didn't know that was like the bad part of town. It's really not. But I started playing guitar when I was 12. I was playing piano as a kid, but I hated reading music and playing notes, and it was very confined. It sucked. It was like it didn't work out for me. So I started playing guitar with a guitar teacher, Don. I can't remember his last name, but learning guitar. And then my family took a trip along through the East Coast, and we stopped in Nashville. And my dad bought a pedal steel guitar, and he played in an old school like Buck Owens, Hank Williams band in college. and he had an old Fender 400 pedal steel, but he bought a more modern steel, and he was practicing in the basement. So I grew up with him, like always working on pedal steel, country instrument. And then he started a band with a bunch of East Campus college guys, and he needed a bass player. So bought me a PV bass, and said, "Here, kid, learn this. We're going to be in a band together." And that's where I learned music. It's one thing to sit in a room and play guitar and or play to a record, which is a great way to learn too, but to play with other people and, how to start a song, end a song, how to get tight knit, how to listen and know your role. So all that stuff happened when I was a kid. So I was playing country clubs in Lincoln when I was 15 till I was 21. There was, oh man, Guitars and Cadillacs. I remember we opened for Merle Haggard in Omaha, which was insane.
Awesome.
I mean, I didn't realize the gravity of that at the time, because I think I was 17 or 18, but it was cool. It was we did county fairs and rodeo dances in the Playmore Ballroom, bars, clubs. You play 50 songs a night. So it was a huge education for me. And then when I was 21, I joined a rock band. And rock was I grew up on country. So our music is a rock and roll thing. Lonely Winters is rock and roll, but it certainly has a country element or Americana element. Yeah. So I joined a band when I was 21 called Casting Pearls, became Voda, and pretty successful touring band. Made a living doing that for quite a few years. But then I always that was a specific genre, so I always dabbled in local bands, and I was always playing with buddies in different groups, and I was writing my own music at the same time. But I was kind of stuck on the bass, but I was playing guitar the whole time. Did a solo record when I was 23, and so this band, we've been around Tim and I have been playing for 5-6 years. So we haven't had a rhythm section we've had a couple buddies that, in bands, people
the Spinal Tap effect where you always
put
a new drummer in.
Yeah. I mean, people's, it's their lives change. Bands trade people out a lot. So, but we've got a solid rhythm section. Our buddy Eric Husted, who's a really great musician and artist. He owns Honest Abe's, which is fantastic. Shout out. And our buddy Josh Honeywell on drums. So, but yeah, we kind of landed here. I mean, I was always been in the local music scene and always loved it. So this band is, we're at the stage where we just want to have fun. That's rule number one. We just want to play with friends and have a great night out of live music and provide that for people. That's the primary goal.
Well, first off, don't knock being a Rocket man. I'm an 86 Rocket man. I'm a Northeast kid.
All right, let's go.
And all you did was describe me growing up, and the only difference was we had garage bands all the time, and the members would change all the time, but everybody knew each other, and you just had a blast.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I love being a Rocket for sure. There's a huge Rocket community. You're probably hip to that, right?
I am. The sad part is now I'm one of the old guys. That's what's.
It's just a mindset, man.
It is a mindset, but yeah, Northeast is, my time growing up during that, it was the blue collar center. And like I said, we had all of our friends that had bands, and you'd go hang out in somebody's, that's how we partied almost every weekend, was going to somebody's place where it's kind of how I met so many people, around the city, was just showing up at these house party garage bands. And it's kind of was my first love of live music, really.
That's great, man. Yeah, I love that. House shows are awesome. I'm trying to think if there were bands. There weren't bands at Northeast in my era, but there were some Lincoln High kids that had bands and then would throw parties, which was always awesome. And there was a lot of all ages venues back in the day too. And that's still, there's some accessibility. We could use more of that.
Yeah. We used to, Stooges used to do a thing on Sunday nights we could go down to. Johnny's. There was a couple nice venues that would allow us to, to hang out before we turned 21. Yeah. And I don't know if there's much of that anymore. Do you, Cain? Is there much of that anymore?
I feel like it's probably like it was when I was in high school, because I went to Lincoln High. And so all of my buddies were they're in Seasick Bob and Boycott and all those great bands and all these different punk bands. And everybody, we would all try to play at like house shows or play at like the Antelope Shelter or wherever. So I feel like somewhere there probably are still having this underground scene. It's just us old, uncool guys to the youngsters. They probably are telling us about it, right?
I mean, I tried, what a lot of the bars that I owned and ran I tried to make, they weren't really, not all of them were set up for bands, but I did try to make them open to some of those opportunities. We used to have the School of Rock kids come in, and that stuff was always a blast. And I always thought that was a great thing for grassroots, for Lincoln, for building that community. So it was pretty awesome when Tim brought up he gave guitar lessons to so many kids. I just think that's so important, to keep building that community and giving kids that opportunity to keep growing in the music industry.
Out in the wild, there's one creature feared by hunters, admired by lumberjacks, and envied by hipsters.
Yeah, it's me, the elegant Sasquatch, and let me tell you, these locks don't tame themselves.
Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company. Beard oils, butters, and washes so good, they'll make your face smell like you wrestled a cedar tree while sipping fine whiskey.
Last week, a hiker followed me for 3 miles just to ask what cologne I was wearing. Joke's on him. I don't wear cologne. I wear the gentleman.
Upgrade your beard game. Sophisticate your outer beast. Find the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company at elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com.
And stop stealing my jerky!
School of Rock, is that Nick Tarlowski? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay. He's doing some really cool things. Like his band, what was his punk band? You guys remember? They toured in Japan. Lincoln Band? No,
That's cool.
Anyway, but no, he's cool. He's refurbishing instruments and giving them to kids that want to learn for free, guitars and amps. It's fun to see like the legacy continue.
I think I actually have him booked on the show coming up here. I saw some article. It was like an article or something, right, where they were talking about him and how he was like refurbishing instruments and getting them out to people. Yeah. And I was asking him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, but I'm like overloaded by it now, right? Like it's such a good thing. People are like reaching out to him nonstop now. So, but that's great, man. That guy's doing big things."
Yeah, it is cool. Definitely support that.
So let's talk a little bit more about Lonely Winters. One, I love the name. I'm feeling the lonely winter vibe, but I guess we're gonna have some nicer weather here. But I get like seasonal depression, horribly, where I just want to throw my head into a wall, at least for a while, while the winter goes on. But man, when I dig into your music, I get that roots rock vibe, that I really love. For me, this is my opinion, is that it kind of gives me that Crazy Horse vibe to me, like, I don't know if you guys like Neil Young as much as I do, but Neil Young and Crazy Horse are, it's a good company to be around. And so when I listened to it, I really enjoyed what you guys have going on. I mean, Strong Like a Stone, Back to the Start, all of that. So you even you unveiled some new stuff that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And I got to tell you, I appreciate that so much, because to me, this is why we get to do it, right? I get that access, back room access to all this stuff that you guys haven't unveiled yet. So tell us a little bit more about this music that you guys are doing, the type of stuff you're doing, and where you think this band's going to go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think the vibe of the band, I think that's close for sure. Like that's a compliment. Crazy Horse.
Absolutely.
Bands that I love, The Replacements, Minneapolis punk band, great songwriter Paul Westerberg. Steve Earle is a huge influence for me, and a ton of rock and roll stuff. I mean, all the way like Sonic Youth and Nirvana in my early days. But we both, Tim and I both love Whiskey Town, and American Wilco and Uncle Tupelo and stuff like that. So you can't quite put your finger on it. Certainly rock and roll, but Midwest Americana stuff is what I'd call it. Yeah, try to tell a good story too, sing a good melody. Something that might stick in your brain.
When that comes out, I mean, it resounds, really, really nicely. You described it perfectly. Like that's exactly what I got out of the music. And so if people haven't had a chance to check it out, I see that you guys are on the different streaming platforms. I listen to you guys on Spotify. I'm sure you guys are in all the other places. But the state of music right now, we really do need bands like you guys to continue it on. Like, I feel like telling our story in the way that you guys are doing it is so important because for a while there, I felt like music was kind of throwing everything away, right? Like they were just some of these, bands, they describe like the Nashville sound and everything, where it's so easy to write a song anymore, where they just plug in a couple things and this is it. But you guys aren't doing that at all. Like I get the whole feel of it. I can feel the instruments and all that. So kudos to you guys. But I mean, what gives you this feel? Is it just being Midwesterners like us? I mean, we're all strong Midwesterners. We endure, all sorts of things. What kind of gives you guys the vibe that you guys have?
God, great question.
Yeah, it is a good question because you are just the sum of all the parts and your experiences. And so, yeah, growing up in the Midwest and maybe being a little music hungry, you tend to look under rocks a lot more for things because there's not a lot of times you're not in a large area, like LA or Nashville, where you get to see everything under the sun and you just get to take it for granted. But I think you're a collection of the experiences you've lived, and this is for us. This is just kind of our bowling night, if we could say that. It's like instead of going bowling, let's get the guys together. Let's melt some tubes and make some noise, and light the tires and kick the fires and all that stuff.
It's true. Like it's not like it's a group of session players or everybody's got a bunch of projects going on. Like we enjoy each other's company, so I think that comes across too. Like I love seeing bands that you can tell there's rapport with the players, like they're enjoying themselves. You can tell if they're having fun or not, or if it's just another night out, or they're on tour. Not everybody has a great night every night when they perform, but I think we feel it is a privilege, because it's a big deal to get your friends and people that haven't seen you to listen to you. Sometimes it feels silly to me, like, what is this guitar and I'm singing, or like, what is the point of, I have to remind myself, especially now, like it's tough times out there. I mean, there's a lot of people, the country's divided. I mean, there's just a bunch of bullshit going on, and it's important to remember, like, we have a lot in common and a common humanity, I would say. So like we're trying to bring people together and lighten the load a little bit, even just for an evening, with the show, with some rock and roll. There's some serious content in what we write about, but it's it's supposed to be healing, I think, if not to be goofy, but like I want the music experience. It's really meant to be performed live too. Like there's something about, you can't recreate it. Like you can record it on your phone, but if you put your phone away and just, it might be an hour and a half concert. Yeah. Shut it all down and just feel the feels, like when you were a kid growing up, seeing music, like it becomes a memory, but if you can just put all the stuff aside and enjoy a moment, that's the kind of thing I like.
Well, I'm going to bring up two things. And one is I was talking to Cain a little bit about the Grammys a little bit and seeing that rock was kind of making a comeback a little bit in that sense. And I believe that because we've been talking to a lot of young artists lately, doing the show, we've taken the opportunity to really kind of reach out to a lot of these younger groups that are just getting started. And what's crazy is that a lot of their inspiration and their references are these older school rock bands. And it'd be bands that we like, weren't even be sure they even knew who they were. I mean, they do bring up a lot of the famous ones. And so you're like, okay. So to me, that was always their parents exposed them to some good rock music, right? But just how in depth that a lot of these young artists are still tapping back into that old core rock music. And so I feel it's important for guys like you guys to be out there, still kind of in some ways being mentors to these kids because they do get it. And in an age where, like, I feel like everything we hear on the radio is spoon-fed to us.
Yeah.
I still just think there's some nice things about, the organic Midwest rock sound, kind of everything you've described. And so my second part to that was, I really wanted to get into, do you guys collab together writing, or one of you does the writing, or how's that process been going for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm the primary songwriter. So and then I don't know, it's different in every band. And I've been in bands that have tried to write together and it's been a total train wreck just because there's kind of, you need a little bit of a vision. And so most of my songs come from just a guitar and a melody, really simple. And then you that's the foundation. And then everybody brings something when they record it. And there's you layer it up, so you hear the contributions. But yeah, so I'm the primary songwriter.
And I got to speak for myself, is I think that's how Case and myself really work well together. We complement each other because I don't want the burden of writing a song, but I love having the architecture there, or, like he's drawing the picture and I get to color the lines and the spots in and kind of illustrate a little bit. So it's a really good way that we can work together and feed off each other's strengths.
Well, Tim, you even mentioned a lot of creating music and writing and performing is kind of that your collection of experiences over time anyway. So just you adding your little niche to it, is what brings it all together.
Yeah. And it does change the core thing of what Case has written when I bring my stuff in, and then we have other guys in the band, Eric and Josh do their thing. And there's always communication in the rehearsal space where someone will bring up an idea and we'll just play with it and throw it around and see if it sticks. And a lot of times it does.
That makes me think of like all the different bands, like Tom wearing a Tom Petty shirt. It's actually Tiny Petty. His kids are in a cover band called Tiny Petty, which is amazing.
Yeah, this is a plug for my kids' band. They're called Tiny Petty.
But like, I just read Mike Campbell's book last year. It was on New York Times bestseller. Mike Campbell is Tom Petty's guitar player, and his band. He has a band called the Dirty Knobs. Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs. But anyway, there's that like yin yang with certain songwriters. There's a ton of them, like combos, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. The list goes on. But like the personality itself, if it's just a solo artist and you can just replace the band with whoever, that's not as interesting. If you think of the Foo Fighters, or U2, or there's a zillion of them, right? Like, you think of the band, you don't just think of the singer. That's something that I love and appreciate is the personalities that come out. And then really it's like the friendship that comes out, and you get it's not like you're just it's not just math or like performance of playing, but like, it's the enjoyment of one another that makes music great, I think.
It's the slugging it out with the band type stuff. You know what I mean? Like really going into a place and winning them over, right? Like you got to get through this playlist. And at first, like I can remember the early cover bands I was in, dude, I hated the first set because it was like, oh my God, this is going horribly. They hate us, to, oh my God, they love us. And then pretty soon, the night goes fantastic. But there's nothing like, I mean, and trust me, I was a sports guy my entire life. I played football ever since I could stand. But the camaraderie I found through being in bands is the biggest and best thing that I've ever been a part of. Right? It's just it's the feeling, it's everything behind it. That it's the things you get from sports, but so much more. And so I can only imagine, how you guys feel. But, what I wanted to bring up was, you have the Tiny Petty shirt on, which I love. I mean, I don't know about you, Randy, but I'm ready to buy one if you guys have them for sale. It's awesome. But anyways, let's talk about the youth right now. Because, I mean, Tim, you helped kids and adults, but people learn music. I'm trying to shape my son into being a musician. He plays in all school band stuff. He does the whole thing. He does all percussion. Now he's learning to play drums. I'm trying to teach my daughter guitar. What can we do to keep it going? I mean, what can we do to keep these kids excited about music and get them out there?
Well, if you think about it, like I would sit for 30 to 45 minutes face to face with someone, a young kid, for example, and where else are they going to get that undivided attention of me just locking in with them and going, let's have some fun first. We might learn something in the process, but more importantly, we're going to have fun. But just that attention really is the number one thing, I think, is that you show interest in what they're looking to do. And so if your kid's into jazz and you're into metal, it's like, I don't understand this, but I want to help them understand it by showing genuine interest, I think, and keeping it fun is the number one thing. Number one, because if you're not having fun, then we all have heard the stories of the piano teacher with the ruler that hit people on the knuckles and now they don't play anymore. And it was like, I don't have anything like that. The guy from Whiplash throwing the cymbals across it's like, that's not very conducive to learning. So if you're having a blast, just genuinely be interested in what they're looking at and then just see if you can help them in that.
Well, it's like, like searching for Bobby Fischer, right? When you watch that movie with chess and you see like what they're putting this kid through and all this, you're like, man, like I don't want to be like, when I try to teach people, I just teach people like introductory stuff to get them going, and then they can go wherever they want. And for me, it's so rewarding to do it, but I don't want to be that guy who's like a total dick to them all the time and slapping them in for messing up because I screw up all the time, right? Like, I mean, every time I pick up my guitar, I screw up. So, I mean, when you sit in the studio or whatever, you have those sloppy days and all of that. But I mean, these kids, they need it, man. I think they need it now. Maybe more than they ever have because they have so much noise going on everywhere else with social media and everything. I think we're giving them a service, man. I really do. And I would even step it up and say this. I think people should have to do a stint just like in the military, right? I think everyone should have to play an instrument. I think everyone should have to play in a cover band for just a small amount of time to really get that idea. And then you're ready for the big stage. Then you're ready to be something.
Everybody needs to play Taking Care of Business.
Or Mustang Sally, right? Yeah, or Mustang Sally.
Mustang Sally.
Dude, I wanted to take my own life in bands that I played in, playing those. I mean, actually, you mentioned School of Rock, or like Tim's whole guitar program, school for kids and stuff. But we played a show with some friends last month, December, right? Yeah, 2 months ago. But there is a place to go for young kids to perform and play called the Music Box that the city put out and opened up. And it is killer. It is really a great facility. It's got this massive, great stage. It has recording capabilities. And then they have, like house drums and amps and LED wall. And it's this whole situation. But you can like go check out a time slot and have your band practice or put on a show,
Record a music video or something like that,
So it's just this whole kind of creator incubator space. And so Lincoln is making some moves that are cool to like pass the torch along and curate young artists and musicians. And I'm totally with you. I think there's too much noise. Young people need face-to-face stuff and context, right? Like sports is great too, because there's no time it's real. Like you're operating in the physical world, it's not your phone. There's value in that too, but like you can get sucked into that world. And so like, remember like out there's where we're supposed to live and have joy, in a million ways, but music is one of them.
Yeah, we've been talking about the Music Box on the show quite a bit lately with a lot of the young artists we've been having on the show. They've been taking full advantage of that, and I think they're even adding more to it right now. Like this, it's such a great thing. Something we talk about all the time, and it's the whole premise of the show is just highlighting the talent that's in our area, and it is exciting to see things like that right here in Lincoln. That the opportunity, if you want to actually try to do something, the door is open here in Lincoln for you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is cool. And I think they're doing a bunch of, they're making this music district 14th and O Street. So there is a plan and the city is on board to enhance that. We just had Pete Waters on the show and he talked about that, and
nice.
We're so excited. And, I know time goes fast, and we really appreciate you guys, coming on the show today, especially, giving us an opportunity to give a shout out to Lincoln Exposed, and hopefully, our fans will come out and, get to see you guys play. And do you guys have any other events coming up after that? If our fans want to come and check you out?
So this show with Lincoln Exposed Thursday, the 12th, 6:40 at Duffy's. And we booked a show at the Zoo Bar at the first weekend in May. It's first Saturday. A buddy of mine from Omaha has a band called Space to Play, Matt Banta. He's been around forever. He was in the band, the singer in the band Blue Moon Ghetto. So he has a new band, and we're going to invite them to Lincoln. So that's the first Saturday in May at the Zoo.
Man, so many great things going on in this town. And I mean, these guys are proving it. Randy, we've been saying it now for over 2 years on this show. And it's really just us sounding off and you guys like you coming on and just giving us that in-scene what's going on. You guys are the in-scene correspondents that we need. And we're just so glad that you guys gave us some of your time today to come on the show, and we get to highlight your band a little bit. And I hope that I get to see you guys out in the wild. I know Randy does too. I'd love to come up and hang out with you guys. I really will buy a tiny petty shirt if you guys have any in my size. And I would love to see you guys. So, for those of you guys listening out there, we can't say it enough. You guys have to get to Lincoln Exposed. This year just feels different. And they're all great, but for some reason this year feels massive to me. And we owe it to guys like this. So thank you guys so much for listening. The time did fly. So wipe your eye, everybody. It's going to be okay, because Scratch the Vinyl will be back again. And we're here every week. We'll catch you on the flip side here on
Scratch the Vinyl. Scratch the Vinyl.